I heard the scream before I even made it up the stairs. Not just any scream, the kind that rips through drywall and makes your bones tense before your brain catches up. Get out of my room. I hit the last step just in time to see my daughter, Megan, throw her phone across the hall. It smacked the wall and shattered, screen first. She was shaking. Tears. Rage. Betrayal carved right into her face like she'd seen a ghost, and it punched her in the stomach. Meg? I asked. What happened? She looked at me, eyes bloodshot, lips trembling. She slept with him. I blinked. What? She slept with my boyfriend. Silence. I swear the house went dead. No fridge hum, no wind, no nothing. Who? I asked. And when she said it, I thought I misheard. Mom. I don't remember dropping the coffee mug, but I did. Megan crumbled on the bed, sobbing. I didn't know what to do. Hold her? Punch the wall? Go scream into the trees? Then I saw the open laptop on her desk. And the texts. Real ones. No fakes, no misunderstandings. Just plain, raw filth. My wife, Sandra, texting our daughter's boyfriend things I wouldn't say out loud. And him? Right there with her. Weeks worth. Compliments. Pictures. Even meetups. In our house. Once, even on a night I was working late, I recognized the damn throw pillow in the background of one of the photos. I felt something twist inside me. I heard the scream before I even made it up the stairs. Not just any scream, the kind that rips through drywall and makes your bones tense before your brain catches up. Get out of my room. I hit the last step just in time to see my daughter, Megan, throw her phone across the hall. It smacked the wall and shattered, screen first. She was shaking. Tears. Rage. Betrayal carved right into her face like she'd seen a ghost, and it punched her in the stomach. Meg? I asked. What happened? She looked at me, eyes bloodshot, lips trembling. She slept with him. I blinked. What? She slept with my boyfriend. Silence. I swear the house went dead. No fridge hum, no wind, no nothing. Who? I asked. And when she said it, I thought I misheard. Mom. I don't remember dropping the coffee mug, but I did. Megan crumbled on the bed, sobbing. I didn't know what to do. Hold her? Punch the wall? Go scream into the trees? Then I saw the open laptop on her desk. And the texts. Real ones. No fakes, no misunderstandings. Just plain, raw filth. My wife, Sandra, texting our daughter's boyfriend things I wouldn't say out loud. And him? Right there with her. Weeks worth. Compliments. Pictures. Even meetups. In our house. Once, even on a night I was working late, I recognized the damn throw pillow in the background of one of the photos. I felt something twist inside me. Not just rage. Something worse. Shame. For not seeing it. For trusting a woman who kissed me goodnight while planning her next sneaky little meetup with the same kid who shook my hand and called me, sir. I walked down the stairs without thinking and shouted. Sandra. She came out of the kitchen, napkin in hand, like she just wiped the counter. What? What's going on? And Megan screamed from upstairs. Tell him what you did. Sandra froze. I looked her in the eye. How long has this been going on? She opened her mouth, closed it, swallowed. Tried something about confusion, emotion, boundaries. I cut her off. Don't lie. Not after what I saw. She started crying, not the sorry kind. The caught kind. Megan came flying down the stairs, shaking with fury. You ruined everything. You slept with him. You knew I loved him. Then she slapped her. Loud. Sandra stumbled back into the wall. And I didn't stop her. I didn't move at all. That, my friend, was the moment everything broke. Not the marriage. Not the family. The illusion. That fake little life we were living, gone in one swing and one confession. And that night, after Sandra ran out sobbing and Megan collapsed into my arms, we didn't just sit in the pain. We sharpened it. Because if Sandra thought she could shatter us like that and walk away clean, she didn't know me. And she sure as hell didn't know our daughter. 3 weeks before it all blew up, I started noticing things. Sandra started locking her phone, not just screen lock, full app locks, new passwords. She never used to care if it was lying around, now it was always face down. She'd step out to take calls and come back with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. At first I thought I was imagining it. We'd been married nearly 20 years. I figured maybe she was stressed, bored, or just tired of routine. But deep down, something was already wrong. Megan started acting strange too. Quiet. Distracted. I'd ask if she and her boyfriend, Ryan, were okay, and she'd just nod with that fake little, yeah, teenagers give when they're lying to you but still trying to be polite. I didn't push. Maybe I should have. But hindsight's always smarter than the moment. Then one night, I walked past the hallway and heard whispering behind Megan's door. I didn't catch the words, but the tone, cold, broken, like someone had pulled the floor out from under her. I paused, listened for a second, then heard her say, "If you don't tell me the truth, I swear I'll ask her myself." I knocked. The line went dead. She opened the door, eyes wide like I'd caught her with a lit match in a barn full of hay. "Everything okay?" I asked. "Yeah. Just, stupid school stuff." She didn't sleep much that night. Neither did I. The next morning, I went to make coffee and found Sandra in the kitchen, humming. Happy. Hair done, perfume on, dressed like she was going somewhere important. "Early meeting," she said. I asked. "With who?" She hesitated a beat too long. "Old client." And just like that, the first real crack appeared. Small. Easy to miss. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. That night, Megan wasn't home. Sandra and I sat in the living room watching TV. Or at least, pretending to. She laughed too hard at a commercial. Glanced at her phone every few minutes. My gut was burning. Something wasn't right. And that's when the thought hit me. Not like a guess, like a punch. What if it wasn't just Ryan cheating on Megan? What if it was with Sandra? I almost laughed. Then I almost threw up. The next day, I asked Megan directly. "Is Ryan being weird lately?" She stared at me for a second. Then she said, "Dad. I think he's cheating on me. But I don't know with who." And I saw it in her face, she was afraid to finish the sentence. I said, "Say it." She shook her head. "It's too crazy. Meg. Say it." And when she did, the world tilted just a little. "I think it might be Mom." We sat there, two people in the same house, surrounded by framed photos and birthday cards and memories that suddenly didn't feel real anymore. I didn't tell her to calm down. I didn't deny it. I just said, "Let's find out." That night, Megan and I sat at the kitchen table like co-conspirators in a slow, deliberate war. No yelling. No crying. Just cold, quiet fury. The kind that doesn't explode, it simmers. It plans. It waits. She opened her old iPad, hands steady as stone. "Mom doesn't know I still have access to her iCloud," she said. That sentence hit like a spark in dry brush. "She used my phone once, years ago, to post on Facebook when hers wasn't working," Megan added. "I guess she never logged out of her iCloud on it. I haven't touched it in forever." 5 minutes later, we were staring at her mother's synced messages. It felt wrong at first, like eavesdropping on someone's thoughts, but that didn't last. Not after what we found. Most threads were boring. Grocery lists. PTA stuff. A chat with her friend Kelly about wine night. But then there was one number, no name, just digits. A number Megan recognized immediately. "That's Ryan's," she said, voice low. "I know it by heart." At first, it looked innocent. Small talk. "Hope you slept well. Good luck today. Tell me when she's gone." And then it turned. Flirting. Inside jokes. Suggestions. I keep thinking about last week. The way you touched me behind the garage. I miss your mouth. Megan stared. I felt her tense up beside me. But she didn't cry. She just scrolled faster. Then came the photos. Low res. Dark. But clear enough to make your gut twist. A selfie of Sandra in our bathroom mirror, in a nightgown I gave her last Christmas. One of Ryan shirtless in what looked like our den. And time stamps that lined up with nights Megan was out of the house. One message from Sandra said. The house is quiet. I lit that candle you like. And I remembered that night, I'd been working late, came home around 1 a.m. The hallway still smelled like cinnamon. I looked away. Needed a second. Megan sat still, like she was freezing from the inside out. She brought him here, Dad. Into this house. While we were all pretending to be a family. We dug deeper. She had receipts, Uber rides, gift purchases, even Venmo payments that said dumb things like red heart and just because, winky face. Then we found the playlist. They shared it on Spotify. Called it Secret Smiles. Songs I recognized, some that used to be ours. The first song? Wicked Game. I almost laughed. She didn't just cheat, Megan said. She planned a second life. And she was right. Sandra was always the type who needed attention like air. She couldn't stand silence. Couldn't sit still. Always needed someone to tell her she was right, beautiful, strong, even if she had to lie to get it. And Ryan? That little bastard played the part. He flirted, obeyed, knew exactly what buttons to push, young enough to act naive, smart enough to know what he was doing. And while Megan loved him, he was sneaking into our house for another woman, her own mother. I stood up. Walked once around the kitchen. My hands were fists, but I wasn't going to yell. I was past yelling. I'll talk to her, I said. No, Megan said, eyes sharp. Not yet. I looked at her. We go quiet. We gather everything. We don't just catch them. We bury them. That was the moment I stopped being just a father. I became a co-pilot in a storm we didn't start, but damn sure we're gonna finish. The hardest part about planning revenge with your own daughter is remembering she's still your kid, even when she starts thinking like a war strategist. Megan printed everything. Messages, timestamps, screenshots, even that stupid playlist. She laid it all out like a case file on the dining room table. I'd never seen her this calm, this focused. Not since middle school when she built a working volcano for the science fair and beat out two boys who copied theirs off YouTube. This isn't about payback, she said. It's about respect. She was wrong, of course. It was absolutely about payback. But I didn't correct her. We made a list of what we had. Over 200 messages. 17 photos. 3 confirmed in-person meetups. 1 playlist from hell. And a whole lot of fire in our guts. What we didn't have was proof that would hold up in public, the kind of thing no one could deny or spin. So we started watching. I took 2 vacation days. Megan skipped classes, said she had cramps, which wasn't a lie, just not the kind her teachers imagined. Sandra's habits were easy to track. Mornings, she left at 9:34, yoga. Usually back around 11:15. Phone always on silent. She used to ask if I needed anything from the store. Lately, she didn't ask much of anything. So on Thursday, when she grabbed her mat and keys and left without a word, I followed her. Didn't even try to be slick. Just took my truck, 2 cars behind. She didn't go to yoga. She didn't even pretend to. She went straight to Ryan's apartment. He opened the door in sweatpants. She walked in like she paid rent. I parked across the street, lowered the seat, and took photos. Then I sent them to Megan. Her reply came 1 minute later. You want audio? Turns out Megan still had the house's old baby monitor set. She'd never returned it to storage. That afternoon, while Sandra was gone, she snuck into our bedroom and planted one of the receivers under the nightstand. When Sandra came home later, glowing, refreshed, we got an earful. Ryan had changed her, she said on the phone. He makes me feel like a woman again, she whispered into her phone while soaking in a bath I installed. I nearly put my fist through the wall. But Megan stopped me. Not yet, she said. The plan was this. Don't explode. Don't confront. Don't even act weird. Just record. Collect. Build. Then, hit them where it hurts the most, in front of everyone they tried to fool. Sandra had a birthday coming up. She was planning a little dinner. Just family and a few friends. Nothing big. Megan looked at me across the table and said, "What if that's the night we ruin them both?" I nodded once. Because I wasn't thinking like a husband anymore. I was thinking like a man who was done being lied to, and just smart enough to wait for the perfect moment to set the fuse. By the following Monday, Sandra had her little birthday dinner planned out like a royal reception. She told me over breakfast while buttering toast like nothing had changed. Nothing big, she said, with that same casual cheer in her voice. Just something cozy. A few people we love. Megan, Ryan, maybe your sister, the Chapmans if they're around. Wine, cake, a few toasts. I don't want drama, just something calm. She smiled at me, like we were still a family. Like we hadn't spent the last week gathering evidence of her sneaking around with our daughter's boyfriend. She still kissed my cheek before heading out for errands. Still called me, babe. Still hummed while folding laundry. I matched every step. Smiled back. Said, "Sounds perfect." And beside me at the table, Megan didn't flinch. "I'll help with decorations," she said. "Let me know what color scheme you want." Sandra beamed. She didn't suspect a damn thing. Didn't know that the two people planning her birthday with her were also planning her public execution. We had 5 days. 5 quiet, fake smiling, clock-watching days. And we used every one of them. Step 1 was tech. I called my buddy Pete, who installs home theaters and security setups for a living. Owed me a favor from a garage remodel 2 summers back. Told him I needed a discreet recording rig, clean audio, local storage, backup options, and a remote trigger. He laughed. "You doin' a sting?" "Something like that," I said. He brought over a tiny black box that looked like a phone charger. Inside was a mic, motion sensor, Wi-Fi backup, and an emergency cloud dump if things went sideways. We plugged it into an outlet near the dining room. Sound quality was crystal. No one would notice a thing. While I handled hardware, Megan handled presentation. She printed everything. The texts, photos, GPS logs, Venmo receipts, even those nauseating messages about candles and secret smiles. She labeled them with dates, circled timestamps, organized them in folders like a lawyer prepping for court. She didn't speak much while working. Just sat at the dining table in silence, highlighter in one hand, phone in the other. And when she was done, she said, "We need more." So she made a slideshow. I kid you not. PowerPoint. With transitions. And music. The title slide? "Happy Birthday, Mom, we know." Inside were screenshots, quotes, locations, and then, at the end, a recorded video. Megan sat in front of her phone, plain background, no makeup. No performance. Just truth. To everyone here tonight. I want you to know what kind of person you're raising a glass to. Because she's not just my mother. She's also my boyfriend's mistress. She held the camera's gaze the whole time. No shaking. No tears. Just fire. I added a few supporting pieces, my own voice, calmly laying out the details. The baby monitor audio, the photos from Ryan's apartment, the call log that proved Sandra's yoga mornings were anything but. Then we exported the video, loaded it onto a secure USB. Saved backups in 3 places, a hidden cloud folder, an encrypted drive in my truck, and an old SD card tucked into a labeled envelope that said, "Smile." We weren't just exposing them. We were documenting the collapse. Thursday, I helped Sandra hang string lights in the backyard. She was in a good mood, better than I'd seen her in months. She laughed. Teased. Opened a bottle of wine before sunset. She kissed me on the cheek and said, I'm really glad we're still here. I know things have felt off. I smiled. Told her she looked beautiful. I almost meant it. But in my head I was thinking. You have no idea you're standing on a trapdoor. Friday, Megan got a text from Ryan. Can't wait to see you and your mom this weekend, winky face. She didn't respond. Just showed me the screen, then calmly pressed delete. No emotion. Just strategy. I've never been prouder, or sadder. By Saturday morning, everything was in place. Sandra picked out a dress, pale blue, soft and expensive looking, like she was going to some award show instead of a family dinner. She asked me if I'd trimmed the hedges out back. Said she wanted things looking sharp. I nodded. It'll be perfect. The guest list was small. Just who she wanted. No extras. Just enough people to hear the truth when it hit the wall. We cleaned the house, set the table, opened the wine. Sandra thought it was her night. But it was really our stage. The HDMI cable was already plugged into the TV, set to an input labeled Birthday Slideshow. And once everyone sat down, and the lights dimmed, and the first toast ended, that file named Smile would play. And nothing, not her wine, not her lies, not even her crocodile tears, would stop what was coming. The first thing I remember after walking out that night was the wind. It hit different. Cooler. Sharper. Like the house had been holding its breath for weeks, and finally exhaled. Megan was already sitting in the truck, staring straight ahead. Not crying. Not shaking. Just still. You good? I asked. She nodded. Better than I've been in months. We drove in silence. 15 minutes. No music. Just headlights on empty roads. When we pulled into the driveway, she looked at me and said, "Thanks for believing me." And I told her the truth. I didn't believe you at first. I hoped you were wrong. But when you showed me the truth, I couldn't not believe it. And I couldn't let it slide. She just nodded. Then said, "I think I'm done with him. For good." That was the easiest thing to hear all night. Sandra didn't come home. Not that night. Not the next morning. She texted once, some hollow apology filled with words like pain and complex emotions and let's talk when things calm down. I didn't reply. Not out of rage. Just clarity. Megan didn't reply either. Instead, she went on a full purge, deleted every photo of Ryan, blocked his number, unfollowed his friends, tossed out a box of his stuff into the garage like it was yard trash. By Monday, I'd made my own calls. First to a lawyer. Then to the bank. Because now, it wasn't just about anger. It was about finishing what we started. See, Sandra and I shared everything: finances, house, cars, retirement accounts. Years of co-signing, tax filing, joint everything. But I'd been smart over the years. Quietly smart. I kept the business separate. My tools, my accounts, my savings, under my name. Just in case. And now that case had arrived. The lawyer walked me through it. Texas laws. Joint assets. Infidelity proof. Admissible digital evidence. Turns out video recordings, audio files, and printouts of her candlelit trysts. Stronger than any marriage vow. By Wednesday, she got served at work. I didn't wait for her to come home. Changed the locks. Left her suitcase on the porch. Taped a copy of the filing to the front door. She called. Cried into the voicemail. Said it wasn't what it looked like, that she felt ignored, that Ryan manipulated her. Said she didn't mean for it to happen, and that I was still her best friend. I let it play. Then deleted it. Ryan didn't say much, either. Not directly. But word got around fast. Turns out being outed as the guy who slept with his girlfriend's mom doesn't go over too well, even in a town where gossip usually dies fast. His friend group turned on him. A few called Megan, apologized for not noticing sooner. Some of them even sent her screenshots of things he'd said about her, behind her back. Gross things. Disrespectful things. Things no man should ever say about the girl he's dating. Megan read them all in one sitting. Then burned the printouts in our fire pit. Ryan lost his job 2 weeks later, not because of us, but because he stopped showing up. He had a panic attack in the break room, from what I heard. Guess it's hard to sell insurance when everyone's whispering, "Is that the guy from the video?" He moved out of his apartment by the end of the month. Don't know where he went. Don't care. As for Sandra? She stayed with her cousin for a while. Tried texting my sister, who didn't respond. Then Megan's school counselor. Even our church pastor. Said she was trying to heal. I heard she posted a long message on Facebook about starting over and owning your truth. Classic Sandra, poetic when cornered, vague when caught. Then she deleted her account. People talk. Of course they do. Some folks whispered behind our backs. Others came up to me at the store and shook my hand. One man I barely knew said, "You handled that better than I ever could have. Most would have burned the whole town down." I smiled. But I didn't do it for praise. I did it because silence is what allowed her to live 2 lives. So I took that silence and turned it into a megaphone. Not for drama. Not for spectacle. But for truth. Megan's better now. She goes to therapy once a week. Says it helps. Says it's strange to feel both broken and free at the same time. I told her that's normal, healing's messy, but at least it's honest. We cook together more. Laugh more. The air in the house is light again, not heavy with things left unsaid. Me? I sleep better now. Still hurt sometimes. Still catch myself wondering how long Sandra would have kept lying if Megan hadn't found out. A year? 2? Till Ryan moved on to someone younger? But then I look at my daughter, calm, strong, standing in the kitchen pouring coffee like the damn adult in the room. And I know we made it out. Not untouched. But intact. You'd think that was the end, right? That after the video played, the guests left, and the locks were changed, Sandra would shrink into silence and shame. It almost happened that way. Almost. But 2 weeks later, I got a call from an old friend, Larry, works in property records and does occasional audits for the city. He said, "Hey, just thought you should know, someone tried to file a transfer request on the lake cabin deed. It has both your names on it, but the signature looked off." My heart slowed. The lake cabin? I asked. We hadn't been there in years, not since Megan was 13 and broke her arm jumping off the dock. But the place had value. Equity. Sentimental history. It was one of the few things we hadn't discussed during the divorce filings yet. I'd honestly forgotten about it. Larry continued. Yeah. The request got flagged for verification. But it came from a different address than either of yours. And the form was filled out electronically, name typed in instead of signed. You didn't do that, did you? I didn't. And I didn't need to ask who did. Because Sandra? She wasn't done twisting the knife. The day after that call, a letter showed up in the mailbox. No return address. Just my name, handwritten in a shaky script I knew all too well. It was from her. I stared at it for a while before bringing it inside. Set it on the kitchen counter. Walked past it 5 times. Thought about burning it. Didn't. That night, after Megan went to bed, I made coffee, took the letter out back, and read it under porch light. It started innocent enough. I didn't know how else to say this, so I'm writing. She talked about loneliness. About how she felt ignored. How she never meant to hurt anyone. How Ryan was a mistake, and she regretted everything. Then came the part that made my jaw clench. I know what I did was wrong. But I also know I wasn't the only one who stopped trying. You were always tired, always busy. You barely looked at me the last couple years. I felt invisible. And there it was. A tidy little shift. Not an apology. An excuse. She betrayed her husband and daughter, and still found a way to write herself as a misunderstood victim of neglect. Like her affair with Megan's boyfriend was just a symptom of a lonely heart. She ended the letter with this. I hope someday you can forgive me. Maybe we can talk. Maybe we can even fix this. I folded the letter neatly and slipped it into the back of a drawer full of things that used to matter: keys to locks I don't use, chargers for phones I no longer own. A place for what's gone. That Sunday, I saw her in person for the first time since the dinner. It was at the grocery store. She looked smaller. Pale. No makeup. Hair pulled back like she didn't bother to style it. She froze when she saw me by the frozen vegetables. I didn't move. Didn't speak. She stepped toward me. "Eli," she started. And I just said, "Don't." She swallowed hard. Blinked. "I just don't." Then I turned, grabbed a bag of peas, and walked away. Because forgiveness is a choice. And I'd already made mine. But the letter, the sighting, the tears? That wasn't the end either. Because 5 days later, I opened the mail again. And what I found wasn't handwritten. It was typed. Official. Legal looking. From an address I didn't recognize. And when I saw the name at the bottom, I knew Sandra had one more game in her. And buddy, she'd saved the dirtiest for last. The envelope was thin. White. Government style. No return logo, just a printed address from some office I'd never dealt with. Inside was a copy of a power of attorney form. Filed. Signed. Stamped with a date from 3 weeks earlier. Name listed under, grantor, Sandra Lynn Weller. Name under, agent? Megan Weller. Our daughter. I sat down. My hands didn't shake, but they wanted to. I read the form again. It gave Megan full temporary financial authority over joint property assets, in the event of legal inaccessibility or medical incapacitation, of the grantor, Sandra. It was forged. Not just the signature. The whole damn idea. Because Megan hadn't signed anything. She hadn't even seen the form. And I sure as hell hadn't given permission. Which meant only one thing. Sandra tried to use Megan's name, her identity, to regain control of property she'd already lost. Quietly. Legally. And permanently. I called the number listed on the filing. Answered by some half-bored clerk in a downtown office. "This is a pending submission, not finalized. But we flagged it because the notary listed isn't verified. Standard double-check before upload." "Did anyone call?" I asked. She paused. Someone from the grantor's side requested a fast track. Said it was urgent. Health-related. "I'm guessing that's you?" "No," I said. "It's not." She gave me a direct email for the review board. Said if I had proof it was a forged document, they'd kill it on the spot. I had more than proof. I had a daughter ready to testify. That night, I sat Megan down and showed her the form. She stared at it for a long minute. Then she asked, "Why would she do this?" "Because she's desperate," I said. "And because she thinks using your name is cleaner than using mine. Less likely to raise flags. People trust daughters." Megan didn't speak right away. But when she did, it was cold. Final. She's not my mother anymore. She's just another person I need to protect myself from. I sent the email with the full attachment package, Megan's written statement, my lawyer's letter, copies of Sandra's divorce filing.